The HR director pressed play on her laptop, and I watched Rachel's face drain of color as the security footage showed her at my desk, 2:47 a.m. on a Thursday, photographing the pitch deck I'd spent 3 months building. "I can explain," Rachel started. "Please do," Monaco from HR said, her voice ice cold, "because this is the fourth instance we've found." Fourth, not first, fourth. 6 months earlier, I genuinely thought Rachel was my friend. We'd started at Palmer and Associates around the same time, me in January, her in March. Both of us junior marketing strategists, both ambitious, both in our late 20s trying to prove ourselves in a competitive agency. The office was one of those open-plan nightmares in downtown Chicago, all glass walls and standing desks, where everyone could see everything you were doing. Except, apparently, what happened after hours. Rachel had this way of making you feel special. She'd grab coffee for you without asking, remember your Starbucks order perfectly, venti iced coffee with oat milk and an extra shot. She'd stay late when I was on deadline, ordering Thai food and queuing up Spotify playlists. "We're in this together," she'd say, stealing one of my spring rolls. "Women supporting women, right?" Right. She asked a lot of questions about my projects, what strategies I was using for the Henderson account, how I had approached the rebranding pitch for that tech startup, which analytics tools I preferred. I thought she was just eager to learn. I'd been in the industry a year longer than her, so it made sense she'd want advice. "You're so good at this," she'd gush, leaning over my desk to look at my mock-ups. "How do you come up with these ideas?" I showed her. Of course I showed her. There were small things I didn't think much about at the time. Files on my desktop that I could have sworn I'd closed would be open when I came back from lunch. My notebooks, I still draft ideas by hand first, would be slightly out of place. Once I caught Rachel quickly stepping away from my desk when I returned from a meeting. "Just leaving you a post-it about drinks Friday," she said brightly, tapping a pink note stuck to my monitor. The post-it was there, so I smiled and said thanks. Our boss, David, started assigning us to similar clients. He called it healthy competition. Rachel would always ask how my pitches were going, what angles I was exploring. I told her. Why wouldn't I? The senior strategist position opened up in July. It was the promotion we'd both been working toward. Better pay, your own office, leading the creative team instead of just being part of it. I knew my portfolio was strong. I'd brought in 2 major clients that quarter, and my campaign for the Henderson account had increased their engagement by 340%. I had the metrics, the results, the client testimonials. My interview with the partners went well. They asked about my vision for the team, my leadership style. I referenced specific campaigns I'd led, problems I'd solved. When I left the conference room, Rachel was waiting in the hallway. "How'd it go?" she asked. "Really good, I think. You interview tomorrow, right?" She nodded, but something in her smile felt off, too tight. "May the best woman win." The announcement came Friday afternoon. David called the team meeting in the main conference room. I can still feel the fabric of my dress. I'd worn my lucky navy one, and the way my pen felt in my hand as I doodled in my notebook, trying to look casual. "I'm pleased to announce that our new senior strategist will be Rachel Morrison." The room erupted in applause. Rachel stood up, gracious and glowing, giving a little speech about teamwork and innovation. I clapped. I don't know how, but I did. My hands moved automatically while my brain tried to process what had just happened. Afterward, Rachel hugged me. Actually, hugged me. "I hope this doesn't make things weird between us," she whispered. "You're still my favorite person here." "Congratulations," I managed. My voice sounded normal. Friendly, even. "You deserve it." But here's the thing. I didn't believe that. Not because I'm arrogant, but because I'd seen her work. It was good, but it wasn't that good. Her campaigns were solid, but safe. She didn't take the risks I did, didn't have the same creative instinct. So, how had she beaten me? I made it to my car before I cried. Proper, ugly crying that fogged up my windshield and ruined my mascara. I sat in the parking garage for 40 minutes, watching other people leave for the weekend, laughing and making plans. Normal people having a normal Friday. My phone buzzed. Text from my brother, Andrew. Did you get it? I couldn't bring myself to type the answer. The weekend was a blur. I stress cleaned my apartment, went through a pint of ice cream, and drafted at least 6 different resignation letters I didn't send. Monday morning felt surreal. Walking back into the office, seeing Rachel in her new corner office, my office, the one I'd imagined myself in, unpacking boxes and arranging plants. She waved at me through the glass wall. I waved back. It was Andrew who snapped me out of the fog. He said, "Something doesn't add up." When I finally called him Monday night, Andrew works in tech, some cybersecurity job I don't fully understand. You had the better portfolio. You brought in bigger clients. What did she present that you didn't? I don't know. The interviews are confidential. But you know what you've been working on. What were your biggest projects this quarter? I listed them. The Henderson rebrand, the startup pitch, the social media strategy for that boutique hotel chain. Okay, and does Rachel work on any of those? No, she's mostly on the consumer goods accounts. I stopped, because that wasn't entirely true anymore. In her announcement speech, Rachel had mentioned revolutionary approaches to hospitality marketing and data-driven rebranding strategies. My approaches. My strategies. Emma! Andrew's voice pulled me back. Are you still there? I need to go. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. I began documenting everything. I created a locked folder on my personal Google Drive and started saving every email, every Slack message, every shared document. Then I noticed something weird in the edit history of a presentation I'd been working on. It was a shared drive file, accessible to the whole team, and according to the timestamp, Rachel had viewed it at 11:34 p.m. on a Tuesday. Why would she be looking at my Henderson presentation at midnight? I checked other files. Same pattern. Late night access, always when I wouldn't be online to see the notifications. But viewing files wasn't proof of theft. I needed more. That's when I remembered the security cameras. Our office had them everywhere. Insurance requirement after a break-in 2 years ago. I'd never thought about it before. They were just part of the furniture. I grabbed lunch with Marcus from IT. We weren't close friends, but we'd chatted at company events, bonded over both being the youngest in our departments. Random question, I said, keeping my tone casual as we sat in the cafeteria. How long does building security keep camera footage? Marcus paused mid-bite of his sandwich. Depends. Main entrances, about 90 days. Interior office cams, maybe 60. Why? Just curious, after that thing about the stolen laptop last month. He nodded slowly, but I could tell he knew something I was fishing for. Emma, if something happened, something you need to document, you should probably talk to HR sooner rather than later. Footage gets overwritten. The way he said it, careful, deliberate, made me think he suspected something too. Hypothetically, I started, if someone wanted to request footage, how would they? They'd need to file a formal report with HR or submit a written request to security. But he glanced around and lowered his voice. If you give me specific dates and times you want checked, I can make sure those sections get flagged for review before they're deleted. Just in case. I went back through my calendar and cross-referenced it with the file access logs. Every time Rachel had viewed one of my documents late at night, I'd either been out of the office or had left early. I gave Marcus 6 dates and approximate times. I'll see what I can do, he said. 3 days later, he sent me a Slack message. Coffee? We met at the Starbucks 2 blocks from the office. I flagged this for security review, Marcus said. sliding his phone across the table. On the screen was black and white footage of the office, timestamp 2:47 a.m. The video showed Rachel using a keycard to enter after hours. She went straight to my desk, pulled out her phone, and methodically photographed everything: my notebook, papers I'd left out, the presentation open on my monitor. I felt sick. "There's more," Marcus said quietly. "4 other instances, all following the same pattern." That's when I filed the HR complaint, formally, in writing, with the CC to the legal department. I attached the access logs, the camera timestamps, and a detailed account of every project idea I'd developed that had later appeared in Rachel's work. Monica from HR called me in the next day. "These are serious allegations," she said, but her tone wasn't dismissive. It was concerned. "I have documentation. I can see that. We'll need to conduct a full investigation. This could take a few weeks." The security footage. Already requested. Marcus Chen flagged it for preservation. I could have kissed Marcus. The HR meeting happened 3 weeks later. Monica called both of us into the conference room. Rachel walked in confident, probably thinking this was about a team issue or some routine check-in. Then she saw me sitting there, the laptop positioned between us. "Rachel, we need to discuss some concerns that have been raised about project attribution and office conduct policy," Monica began. Rachel's PR smile didn't falter. "Of course, happy to clarify anything." "Great, let's start with the Henderson rebrand pitch. Can you walk me through your creative process for that campaign?" I watched Rachel explain my strategy, using my frameworks, even referencing research I'd conducted. She was good. She'd internalized it enough that it sounded natural. Then Monica opened her laptop. "I'd like to show you something." That's when she played the footage. All 4 instances, edited together. Rachel at my desk photographing documents. Rachel copying files to a USB drive. Rachel literally stealing my work in real time. The conference room felt airless. "I can explain," Rachel started, but her voice had gone thin. "Please do, because this is the 4th instance we've found, and it directly contradicts your statement that all your pitch materials were original work." Rachel's eyes darted to me, and for a split second, I saw real panic. "Emma and I collaborate all the time." At 2:47 in the morning, without her knowledge or consent? "I just needed reference materials." You photographed proprietary client strategies and presented them as your own work in a promotion interview. That's intellectual property theft and a terminable offense under your employment contract. The meeting lasted another 20 minutes, but it was essentially over the moment that footage played. Rachel was fired within the week, not just for the theft, but for violating about 6 different company policies. Turns out, photographing confidential client information was a legal liability the company couldn't ignore. The promotion was reopened. I didn't get it immediately. HR wanted to ensure fairness in the process, but 2 months later, they offered me the position. The real one this time, earned without anyone stealing my work. David, our boss, was also quietly reassigned. Turns out he'd been CC'd on some of Rachel's emails containing my collaborative ideas and should have flagged the similarities. He'd either been willfully blind or actively complicit. I didn't ask which. I've been in the senior strategist role for 4 months now. My office has a lock on the door, and I've disabled after-hours access to my shared files. Some might call that paranoid. I call it learning from experience. Marcus and I get lunch regularly now, actual friendship, not just networking. Turns out he'd suspected something was off for weeks, but didn't have proof until I asked. "You did the hard part," he told me. "I just preserved the receipts." I think about Rachel sometimes. Not with anger anymore, just confusion. She was talented enough to succeed on her own. She didn't need to steal from me. But I guess some people see a shortcut and can't resist taking it.
My team's doing well. We landed a major campaign last month, entirely my strategy, my ideas, my late nights. And this time, I made damn sure every file was timestamped and properly attributed. The office still has those security cameras. I notice them now every time I walk in. But instead of making me nervous, they make me feel safe. Because the truth has a way of coming to light eventually. You just have to know where to look for it.